Hello children, how are you all today? I hope you all are healthy and happy. For today's English lesson, we are going to continue with the first chapter, Sentences, from your Mastering Grammar book. In our previous video lesson, we have discussed about what sentences are, when a group of words can be called a sentence, and how the subject and verb agrees with each other in a sentence. Yes, I know those rules will take time for you to learn, but it's okay, you can take your time. And today we will be discussing something more about sentences, their kinds, their types, how we can identify different types of sentences based on the purpose they serve. Like there is a particular purpose for us to speak. Like when I am asking you what is your question or what is your name, so that is particularly a question. I want a response from you, right children? So yes, this way only all these type of sentences, all the sentences have some purpose, have some work to do, have some function. It has to pass some message on. Either it can ask question, or it can demand something, or it can just simply be a statement. Like all these sentences that I am telling you, I am just stating a fact. I am just telling you something or some normal statements. Okay, so sometimes it can be a question, sometimes I can express myself, sometimes I can request you something, and other times I can mainly ask you a question. Yes, I am a teacher, I can ask you a question as well as you can ask me questions whenever you have doubts, right? So children, today we will be learning some more features about sentences. Okay, so what will be those features? We will get to know. Now let's learn something about sentences, some important features, so that you understand how you will identify that a group of words are sentences or not. So some features. The first one, children, is very easy. So sentences start with a capital letter. Okay, so this is a basic point. Sentences start with a capital letter. So every time you start a new sentence, you will have to start it with a capital letter and not a small letter. So only proper nouns and when the sentence are beginning, then we use capital letters, otherwise we don't use it. Okay, so here is my first feature of a sentence. Sentences start with a capital letter. Now a sentence has a verb. Okay, no sentence, children, is complete without a verb, right? So I told you it should be my first feature, but it's okay. Let's write sentences make complete sense. Sentences make complete sense. Okay, you need to understand the complete meaning of what is being told to you or what you are telling to others, because otherwise it won't be a sentence. It would be something else, like phrases also or clause. They make a part of the sentence, but they are not actually a sentence. They just make partial sense. There is just a little bit meaning, just a partial or incomplete meaning attached to the phrases and the clauses. Okay children, so I hope you understood what sentences will do. They will make complete sense. Now children, moving to the fourth one. Sentences end with a full stop this is known as a period or full stop. Then a question mark. When a question is asked, you have to use the question mark. Okay. And exclamation mark. Okay, children. Yes, I hope you have seen this sign, this thing. When there is an expression, when someone is expressing their feeling, you can see that the end of the sentence, at the end of their expression, we can find this symbol. Okay, so this punctuation is called exclamation mark. Now children, the last point for the features of sentence is the most important one. You should know that sentences have two parts. A subject and a predicate. Okay, children. Now with this, I will like to elaborate the second point that I had written here. A sentence has a verb, and then I told you that sentence have a predicate and a subject. Now what is the verbs, children? I had told you verbs are action words, right? Any action, any work that is being done or that has been done, or there is a work that is going on in the sentence, then we call that particular word or the group or the phrases, or like, because we have a number of tenses, right? So those phrases or those words are called action words, which actually does something, right? The action is known as the verb. So a subject has to have a verb always. So without a verb, even if there is one word in a sentence, that has to be a verb. Like go, come. Okay, these words are sentence. They make complete sense. Like I am instructing you to come, or I am telling you to go. Now children, you can see just one word, but that one word is a verb only and no other parts of speech. So no sentence can be complete without a proper verb. Okay children, so now we will be reading in detail about these two parts, a subject and a predicate, so you can easily understand how you will separate these both parts from each other, right? How you will identify a subject and a predicate from their sentences, from the sentences. Okay, so what did I tell you, children? That a subject, sorry, I erased this one as well. So a sentence is divided into two parts. What did I say? First is subject and the second part is the predicate. Okay, so this is very simple to understand. Let us see an example. Okay, then I'll tell you the definition for this one. So if I tell you Shraddha goes to school. Okay, so now children, tell me, who is going to school? Who is doing that action? Okay, who or what is being done, or what is the main thing, what is being talked about? Who or what is being talked about? We are talking about whom? Who is the topic of discussion in this sentence? Here Miss Shraddha is the topic of discussion. So this part, okay, about whom or what we are talking, who or what, in other words the topic, right children? What is the topic of your sentence? What are you telling about whom? Who or what, this topic is the subject. Okay, now what is being told about Shraddha? That she goes to school. So this action that the doer is performing, that Shraddha is doing, what we are saying, something done by or of a subject. Okay, so what she is doing, Shraddha is the subject and goes to school is the predicate. Okay children, predicate. Now if you can see, the predicate has a verb. Goes is a verb because she is going, she goes, that's her habit. She goes to school. So this children is a verb and a predicate must have a verb. So how are you going to identify? You know, this sentence was really simple, but there are also complex sentences like when you are asking questions or in imperative sentences where the subjects are not clear. You never know whom you are asking the question to. In that case, what do? We change the question into interrogative. What I told you, I will be explaining that on board as well. But you should know that some sentences are really complicated. They are difficult to understand. These sentences are really easy. We will see more sentences like this first, and then we will see how we can identify the subject and predicate in question kind of sentences or in sentences where command, suggestion or advice or some exclamation has been used. Okay children, so let's look into some more examples of this kind, the easy ones. So if, let me see one example, she is my sister. She is my sister. Now I am talking about she here, and what I am telling about her, that she is my sister. So this has to be the subject because I am talking about her. And who is she? What I am saying about her? I am saying about her that she is my sister. So children, if you see here, this word is, okay, is acting as the main verb, although it's an auxiliary verb, but because the main verb is absent here, so it's working as main verb. So she is my sister. From is to sister will be a predicate. This was a very easy, simple statement. Now moving to number 2. Let's see number 2. Shashank and I are best friends. Okay. Now children, see, there is not only one subject here, but about whom I am talking. There is a pair of people that I am talking. I am talking about Shashank and I. Okay. So this whole complete part will be our subject, because here we are talking about two people and they are being talked about together only, that they are best friends. From are, if you can see our word, the word are is an auxiliary verb but here it's working as a main verb because main verb is absent. So are best friends. So we can see that this portion is the predicate. Why? Because it has a verb as well as this is what is being told about them, about Shashank and I. It is being told that they are best friends. So who are best friends? Shashank and I. So I am talking about, this is my topic, I am talking about these two people. This is my topic, these are the people I am talking about. Who are best friends? So Shashank and I are best friends. Okay children, now let's look into some more sentences like this only, until you understand. At least 5 examples needs to be given, right? Sometimes, because number 3 now. In the spring, flowers bloom. Okay children, now see this. Okay, this is very different arrangement of words. Now I told in the spring flowers bloom. But I am not talking about spring. Sometimes what happens that some phrases are placed right in front of the what? In front of the sentence, in front of the subject. But what do we do with that? We actually try to arrange it, figure it. Like here, see, in the spring is a phrase and flowers bloom. So what are we talking about? That flowers are blooming in which season? In which season? Spring. So flowers are our subject. So here flowers is our subject. So this will be the subject, while the rest of the words like in the spring bloom, this will be our predicate. So in the spring bloom, this is our subject. Sorry, predicate. Because bloom is a verb, right? So verb has to be in the predicate part only. And we talked about the flowers. We are talking about the flowers. That's why flowers has to be the subject. So children, do not get confused with the arrangement of the words, okay? Because arrangement of the words can be confusing. You have to focus on what is being talked about or who is being talked about in the sentence. Okay children, now I hope you got this clear. Now let us move to some questions and some imperative sentences or some command suggestion. Now number 4th example children, let's see how we will find subject and predicate in these kind of sentence. How are you? Okay, if I ask you this question, how do you think we need to find the predicate? About whom are we asking? We are asking about you. So see, you are. How? That means you are fine. Now children, this one, you part is the subject here because you is being asked. When you answer the question, you get the subject and predicate. You have to answer the question. So this part is predicate with are as the verb. Okay. Now see, where are you going? Where are you going? Let's change this also into a statement. Now this was a question children. I changed it into a statement to find out the subject and predicate. But when you learn it how to identify, you won't need the help to change it. But I am explaining you, that's why I need to explain you that way, that you have to turn it into a statement. Now this is also a question children, right? This is a question. Now how do you identify the subject here? How we will identify? We will try to answer. You are going where? Wherever the person is going, you are going where? So if I change this into statement, then what happens? This is a statement. Then we find out that about whom are we asking? We are asking about whom? We are asking about you. So this my children is a subject. And because this has a verb, are going is a verb, and where, till where it will be the predicate. Okay children. So how do you write it? You write it in the same way. You have to write where and then are and then going and then you separately as the subject. Okay children. Now let's see the 6th kind of sentence. We have seen the questions. Now we will be looking at the imperative kind sentence. See, come here. Now children, in these kind of sentences, some might feel really difficult to find. I think this is 7. Yes. So in these kind of sentences, when there is a command or order or particularly some kind of suggestion, advice, then what do? We often get confused. Okay, we shouldn't get confused. What we need to do is, we need to think that here the question is asked from you, because when I am telling someone to come here, that means this you is very clear or invisible. Although it is invisible, it's invisible or implied. Okay, you can say this is implied. Implied means we mean it, but we cannot see the word. we mean this only, we mean you only. If I tell you that sit down, obviously I am telling you. So you has to be the implied subject. The subject is not clearly visible. Only the predicate part is visible in these kind of sentences. If I tell you, please give me a glass of water. If I tell you that, okay, if I'm not taking the name of the person, like Shashank, give me a glass of water, Madhu, give me a glass of water. If I'm not taking the name, the subject is very much implied that I am asking you. Why would I tell you to bring me a glass of water? I won't say like you please bring me a water. No, you is implied here. Okay, we are going to say please give me a glass of water. So this way you is implied, it's very invisible. That's why this portion, what do we do with these things? What answer will you give here, that if I ask you what is the subject in this one? So you have to write the subject is which one? Subject is you. Yes, you have to mention that it's implied. Implied means it's not visible, it's not clear, but yes, it is there. And the predicate is come here. The whole sentence is a predicate, which we can see. Now come here. Okay, so this is the implied one. Now children, let's see some other example. Give me my medicines. Okay, this is a command, they are asking for medicines. So with commands we are using full stop only. Now this one, this kind of sentences, see here you is not there, but when I am telling this to someone, it means that I am asking that person only. So here you is the subject, which is implied. Okay, subject but implied subject. And the predicate is which portion? Give me my medicines. So give me my medicines. The whole sentence is a predicate. Give me my medicines. Okay children, so I hope I made this thing clear, that how you will identify a subject and a predicate in a sentence. Now children, let's move ahead with doing one exercise that's there, number A. Okay, I don't remember the page number, so please cooperate. Okay, I do not remember the page number, and so I'll just be writing the questions. I guess it's 7, okay, 7 or 8, something like that. So that's the page number of your exercise. So we can continue with that one. So the question is number A, rearrange the following words to form meaningful sentences. Use proper punctuations. You have to use correct punctuations like full stop, question mark, okay, commas if there is, and exclamation mark, question mark as required. Okay, so yes, you have to change it into capital letter also, because we can see that everything there in those 5 sentences are in small. First one has been done for you, so we don't need to attempt that, but still I'll be telling you the answer. Jane house was burgled yesterday. See, there all the words are so jumbled up. They have arranged it and they have used capital wherever is required and full stop wherever we have to use that punctuation mark. So now children, moving with the second question. I won't be writing number 1 because it's already done. It will be a total time wastage. So let's do number 2. Okay. Leaving tomorrow, James and Henry B will London for. Start with James. So children, A, okay, now A1, A number 2, 1 is already done. That's why I'm not doing it. Don't write this in your copy. Some of you will be writing that ma'am had written in 1 that it's already done. So you are not going to write this one. Number 2, leaving tomorrow, James, and so we have to start with James. I am writing just the answer. Children, you will have to write the question. James and Henry. James and Henry will be leaving for London tomorrow. Okay children, because we have been asked to start with James, so I did like this. James and Henry will be leaving for London tomorrow. Now children, if I ask you, this is like extra question. James and Henry will be leaving for London tomorrow. If I ask you, which is the subject here? Can you tell me which part is the subject here in this sentence? Do you have any idea? Can you share it with me? So let's try that. About whom are we talking in this sentence? We are talking about James and Henry together. Okay, they are being talked about together. They are not taken separately. So here James and Henry are the subjects, right? You don't need to do this. That's why I'm not marking it. And will be leaving is my verb. So from this part, it is being told about James and Henry that they will be leaving for London tomorrow. I told you what is a subject. A subject is anything we are talking about in the sentence, anything or any person or a group of people or a group of things. Okay, so now what is being told about James and Henry? That they will be leaving for London tomorrow. So this part, what is being told about the subject, that part is the predicate. So it was really easy to spot, although we have not been asked, but we can do some extra exercises, we can do some extra work to understand that we have understood the concept or not. That won't harm us, right? So now children, moving to the next question, number 3. You who are, okay? You who are, everything is in small letter. Now we have to find out. They have asked us to start it with who. They haven't given any punctuation. So this is the word, this is the sentence actually. So let's arrange it. They have asked to use who first. So who first, then the verb, and then there will be this subject. Now children, you can see that when this word is used, who, we know that who, what, which, where, these often ask us questions. Okay, so we'll have to use which punctuation? The question mark, because this is asking a question. Number 4, scientist was great Einstein. We have to start with Einstein. Einstein is a name, so it has to be in capital letter wherever in the sentence it is placed. Here it is placed in the beginning only, so it's obviously capital letter. So I'll be writing the answer. Einstein was great scientist. I think I'm missing a, but I don't remember writing it. So okay, I'll be writing like this only. So children, see, Einstein was a great scientist. We have done the adjective chapter already. So you know that this word great is describing the scientist. That's why this word is an adjective, right? So Einstein was the main verb here, and great scientist. So now can you tell me where is the subject here? Yes, we are talking about Mr. Einstein. So he was a great scientist. We are telling what about Einstein? That he was a great scientist. So Einstein is the subject and was great scientist is our predicate. Number 5 children now. Beautiful a painting it is. Now children, we have to start with word. What? Not all WH words always is a question. You should know this. We will know about this when we learn about the different kinds of sentences. But we have to start with what, and you can see that with what only a question can be formed sometimes, and some other times also one more kind of sentence is formed when we are expressing our admiration. Okay, when you are expressing your appreciation for something. So here is the expression. Here is a strong emotion when the person has seen a beautiful painting. So let's see what we can do with this one. So what? Because this person has seen a painting. What a beautiful painting. It was. So children, because this is an expression, we use exclamation mark. Okay, so this kind of mark is used. Now children, let's see if we can make a question out of this, because we know that what is mostly used for making questions. So let's see if with these words we can make a question or not. You can try that on your own, and let me try that on my own, because that is very prompt. I did not prepare for this lesson. I did not prepare for such question, but I thought let's try that out together. Beautiful a painting it is. What painting it is beautiful? No. So we have to use for exclamation only, exclamatory sentence only. So children, this was the exercise for today. This was the lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it, because I enjoyed teaching. Thank you for watching the video lesson. We will meet again with the third part on the same chapter. So join me on that day again. Bye-bye for today.